involves religious belief, certainly, and it's a religious offering. It has become a form of entertainment, too. And so this may have been the origin of the flying aspect. Mexican circuses came in all sizes and produced some of the world's greatest performers, particularly trapeze artists. 3 of the first people to complete the triple somersault were Mexican performers. The triple was considered almost impossible because of the terrific speed at which you had to be moving. You had dislocated shoulders, to say nothing of broken necks were common injuries. Now, the first person in records to actually do a triple was a 15-year-old Australian girl, Lena Jordan. And she performed the feat a number of times in the late 1890s, but gradually her accomplishment was forgotten. And so unless you're looking in circus history books, you don't know about her. The person you do know about is Alfredo Cardona. Alfredo Cardona was usually given credit for the first triple. He was born in Hermosa, Mexico in 1893 and came from a circus family. He joined, and this is a photograph, this is actually a postcard that he sent to his aunt, who was Frederica. And so that's how we get the connection then with the Carpa tradition. And this is when he was with Ringling Brothers, and he was in North Carolina when he sent this postcard. He then developed this aerial act. He joined his brother Lalo and his sister Victoria in their father's aerial act when he was only 5 years old. The siblings performed together as adults, and Alfredo became more and more interested in the triple somersault. When he was 26 years old, he said, "I'm going to accomplish it or get killed trying it." In the spring of 1920, Alfredo did the triple somersault as the climax of his regular routine. Carpas are a small version of the big tent circus. They were family-based, as many of you well know, and members of the extended family were the mainstays of the company. Non-family members could be hired for short periods. Maybe you came into town and you knew that there was a well-known performer there who would be hired then just to perform in that location or perhaps travel a short distance. But by and large, they were family-based. The characteristic mixture of bawdy stage comedy, song, dance, all essentially vaudevillian acts, combined with the traditional circus acts of acrobats, high wire work, trapeze, and clowning. They combined influences from the circus, vaudeville, burlesque, and movies from both sides of the border. A number of performers got their start in Carpas and went on to have very successful careers. And here's Lydia Mendoza, and she started singing in tent shows and certainly went on to become a world-renowned recording artist. Pete, is this a photograph that you took, or is Rick Casagrande took this? He interviewed her. She was known as the Dove of South Texas and was one of the earliest Mexican-American women to make recordings. Pedro Gonzalez, a cousin of the Garcias, played in a Carpa and later enjoyed a career as an actor in Hollywood, playing with such stars as John Wayne. Carpas started appearing in South Texas in the teens and played throughout the Southwest until the 1950s, when movies and television became increasingly popular forms of entertainment for everyone. During the Mexican Revolution of 1910, many performers from the bigger circuses and theaters took refuge in the backyard Carpas found all over Mexico. Many Carpa performers fled to Texas to escape the violence of the revolution, bringing their performance traditions with them. While many performers returned to Mexico after the fighting finally ended, some stayed in the United States and even joined the vaudeville circuit. Some even made their way into the American and Canadian vaudeville circuits during the 1920s and 30s. And quite a few performers formed new Carpas throughout the Southwest. San Antonio was home to a number of them. Carpa Monsivais was the largest company, built around the family of Isabel Monsivais, who crossed the border in 1912 and toured southern Texas into the late 1940s. There are some photographs of the Monsivais Carpa, but we have more information on the Carpa Cubana, founded by Virgilio and Federico Abreu, the well-known Cuban-Mexican circus family, and Carpa Garcia, founded by Manuel and Teresa Garcia. Carpas survived the Depression, repatriation, and other economic and social forces that put many other forms of Mexican-American entertainment out of business. Carpas probably were successful because of that family base, that the family was staying together, and also because of the flexibility. Everyone had to be multitasking, had to be capable of doing all different kinds of things and being able to adapt to different situations. So that flexibility probably was a big factor in their ability to adapt to these changing situations.
One of the first stories he talks about is how he was selling peanuts in another family's tent show. And he was not having any success. And so the musicians called him over and told him what he needed to do. Let's see.
Bueno, la cuestión que le digo, bueno, ¿en qué forma? A ver, le digo, bueno, mira, vas a aprender a jugar con usar cacahuates. ¿Quién quiere comprar cacahuates? Y si ves que nadie te hace caso, entonces dices, cacahuate para hacer push, cacahuate para cargar la batería. A reírse, y a unos por otros. Y, por supuesto que la gente sabía que yo no sabía lo que estaba hablando.
All right. Do I have to explain that one day? All I can say is I learned something from that about, some ideas that were perhaps current at the time in Southern Texas about the effects of eating peanuts, which I didn't know anything about. But anyway, so that's an example of some of the stories he tells about his childhood.
My sister came to hear me talk about my nieces. Well, do you want to know how I met? Yes. Okay, I was in the Carpa Cubana since I was 9 years old. I called the owner of the Carpa Cubana my godmother, Madrina. I didn't know anything about anything. My mother was the one that was in the Carpa Cubana in the 1920s. Excuse me, a picture.